I've got rumored Canon RF bodies coming out in 2021. I've got information on the Canon R1, the Canon EOS RP, the EOS R Mark II, the much talked about APS-C RF body, and the much talked about high megapixel R5. This and more coming up after the introduction. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning into The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss any news, rumors, or tutorials. And by the way, I'm giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. Details are in the description down below, or you can watch this video here, but essentially all you have to do is subscribe for your chance to win. Now I do recommend watching the video because there are some restrictions based on location and age. It's definitely been a slow news cycle, but for those looking to upgrade to a Canon RF camera in 2021, I've got some exciting news. While Canon won't be coming out with an EOS RP Mark II, we'll be getting two cameras in its place. The first will be priced cheaper than the EOS RP, and we can look to the Canon M6 Mark II for an idea of how they might accomplish this. They could remove the EVF, have it as an option, and have a single card slot, but hopefully they won't return to 1.7 times crop in 4K or lose 120 frames per second in 1080. Now the price for an entry-level RP replacement is likely to come in around $899 or less, as the current RP sells for $999. The second camera will have a feature set somewhere between the R6 and the RP replacement that I just talked about. Now it's not going to be called the EOS R Mark II, but something else. So for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and call it the R8 and the lower end price camera the R9. Now Canon sees the RP and the R as one-off cameras. Their purpose was single-fold, to show the market that Canon was serious about the mirrorless cameras and the mirrorless market, with more products to come. If you've been looking for a successor to the EOS R, your best bet is the R6, which is out now, or the R8 as I call it. 2020 saw multiple rumblings of an APS-C RF camera. We first heard about this in late 2019 and received a rumor in April, then one in August, and one just recently, and of course there's this. No other details have been forthcoming. No specifications leaked. Initial rumors suggested it would be a high-end APS-C camera to replace the 7D. What do you think? One thing's for sure, if true, once released, it would spell the beginning of the end for the EFM line. Would you buy an EFM camera knowing that an APS-C RF body is being released? Me neither. I'm not likely to invest in an APS-C EFM mirrorless platform if Canon's introducing an RF APS-C mirrorless camera. Canon's hardly about to have or spend money, invest in upkeep, maintenance, and advertising with two APS-C mirrorless mounts in a declining market, in an economic slump, with a pandemic going on, while all investment is being allocated to the RF system. Gregg said, we'll be getting the Canon R1 in 2021. I believe it will be announced in the first quarter and available in time for the Olympics. If progress continues with the vaccine, I expect the Olympics to happen as scheduled. And if the Olympics happen, you can bet that the Canon R1 will be ready in time. I'd also expect to see the Sony A9 Mark III to be available in time as well. I expect more Canon R1 leaks by late December into January. The high megapixel R5 is still on the way and expected to have twice the resolution of the R5, putting it at around 90 megapixels. Now you'll remember that we call the range to be somewhere between 80 and 90 megapixels. The only question is when. It hasn't been a huge priority in 2021, despite hitting all the rumor wagons or all the rumor sites that it would be coming out in around February of 2020, which didn't happen. I expect that we'll get some sort of announcement sometime before May. And now for cinema cameras. Canon is likely to release the C50 and the C90 in the first half of 2021. If you've been eyeing the C70, you might want to wait to see if the C50 and C90 are capably rich enough that you might want to get them instead. I expect the C50 to be less capable and the C90 to be more capable. Now, the update didn't include any mention of the M7 or the M5 Mark II, and from previous Canon statements, we know there aren't any plans for new EF bodies. But before signing off, I want to share with you a product I got in the mail today. Juan sent me this. And this is the Crane 2, or the Crane S2. So I got this, and you know what they sent me as well? They sent me some other little toys and kits as well. So we've got this here. This is the focus motor, I believe. Yep, I'm not wearing my glasses, so no, they're not here. So this is the focus motor adjust. And this here, I've already put this on the camera. This is the slip grip handle, which is really handy. As some of you might know, I actually had the Ronin S when, well, I don't know if it was when it first came out, but it was quite some time ago. And one thing I noticed, the way the grip was and the way I was holding it, and this was with the Canon 70D, I found the weight to be a bit too much cumbersome. I just didn't find it a lot of fun to use. So I have actually taken it out of the box. I've set it up. I played around with it. And you know what? With this, especially with this grip on it, it actually feels pretty good to the hands. It feels light. Well, it's not as light as, like a Sony a6100. It's the R5. I've got the 50 EF millimeter on there. I've got this on there. And of course, it adds up. So you've got a decent amount of weight there. But it had no problem taking all the weight. And one really cool thing too is I have my Sennheiser MKE 400 connected up to it, and I can move it all the way around and no problems whatsoever. Now with the Ronin S, I couldn't do that. Now I haven't looked closely enough at the Ronin S2 to see if it's got more clearance. But the Crane S2, it's terrific. The freedom of movement is terrific. And there's also room on it for a wireless video transmitter. So there's that as well. And they also sent me this. Now this is really cool. For those of you that do weddings or other events like that, you can actually put 2 cameras on this. 2 cameras. I could probably fit the R6 and the R5 on it. But that's really, really exciting. So I'm really excited to be able to test this out. Today, I really haven't had a chance to do much. I just unboxed it. I'm starting to recharge the batteries, which is another big plus with this. The Ronin S, the battery's built into the unit, which meant that you had to hook it up, and while it was charging, you couldn't use it. Now this uses 3 batteries. They kind of look like AA batteries that are, well, twice the volume. It's got about the same proportions, but they're definitely bigger. I'm going to cover all this off in the review, but the really nice thing is that you can pop out batteries, put in new ones, so essentially you can go a full day. You can go as long as you want to, which is really, really nice about it. But I'm really excited to try this out. I have had a lot of experience with stabilization. When I first got the 70D, I learned very quickly the importance of how you brace yourself, holding your arms like this, holding the camera, because the 70D doesn't even have in-body image stabilization. And without IBIS, you're left with using your body to help frame it, or you'll rest it on a tripod, or use a tripod. You'll rest it on any sort of your contraption, your deck, a house, any way to sort of stabilize that video footage. And then I learned that, well, instead of just putting my camera on a tripod and letting it sit to stabilize the video, obviously, I retracted the legs and I tried holding the camera. Well, I hold one of the legs of the tripod, and that extra weight really helped stabilize too. And this is what I did when I didn't have a lot of money, didn't have the budget for looking into stabilizers. And then I got into something called a glide cam and played around with that. Nice thing about that is it didn't have any batteries, but it too had its issues, and it wasn't cheap. You're looking at around $250 to start, and the prices go up. And of course, I tried the Ronin S. I tried that for about 3 days before I finally said, yeah, I don't want this. And I sold it. One of the biggest problems at the time is there wasn't enough clearance for audio. And of course, back then I didn't have a Tascam, so I couldn't wire up my son or any of my other talent to get good audio. And the in-camera audio for the 70D was terrible. So faced with spending a whole bunch more money on mics and doing other stuff at the time, when I didn't have the YouTube channel to cover costs, I decided it wasn't for me. And balancing it was rather tough too. I don't know how long I spent trying to get it to balance. I spent an hour or so, and I'd get it almost there, and then I'd go to calibrate it, and it would say, check, check, X. So the one item it just wouldn't calibrate on. And so I figured, okay, you know what, I'm not going to get it perfect, and I started using it, and it worked pretty good. It works very, very well, but every now and then it would kind of dip a little bit. And it was almost like if I walked at a steady speed, it would, you know, I'd walk a couple of feet, dip, walk a couple of feet, dip, walk a couple of feet, dip. But since I got rid of it after 3 days, I really didn't delve into it too much further. There might have been a firmware that might have helped with that. But one thing about the Canon 70D that I had at the time, DJI didn't properly, well, they didn't support the camera. So all those advanced features I couldn't use, but as far as using it as a basic stabilizer, it worked well. So I'm really excited to try this out. I want to see what the capabilities that it has, what outcomes this allows me to do, the obvious one being stabilization. And does it fall down in any way? So one thing I already noticed and I mentioned already is the rechargeable batteries that are actually removable, which is terrific. And if you want to get an extra set or two, they're not overly expensive. And I found that calibration was so very simple. In fact, the strange thing is when I put the camera on it, I just started doing what I did with the Ronin S. You've got 3 axes. So what you do is you balance one arm, then you balance the other joint, and then you balance the motor, and then you balance the other one. And I had it pretty well done in a matter of like 2 minutes at most. I was amazed at how easy it was to do. The Ronin S wasn't that simple, and that's probably why I'm so good with it. I was doing it over and over again, but I could never get the Ronin S to balance as well. This one worked really well, and I started playing around with it, and I realized, you know, there's got to be a calibration for this. The manual, give them credit, it's beautifully presented. It's very Apple-esque, and it comes in its little envelope. You open it up, it's color. Once again, if you have reading glasses, I found that the font was a little bit too small on this. It was hard to read, and that made learning what I need to do a little quicker. And of course, I did what any modern person would do. I went to YouTube and I searched, and I found a few really good channels that showed how to calibrate it, and it actually isn't that hard at all. And so I got it calibrated, and I didn't really notice any difference, but it's, from my first initial impressions, it's so easy to use, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing it, testing it out. I expect the review to come out in about 2 weeks from today, give or take. But yeah, that's kind of it for now. I'm wondering, is there anything else? Oh yes, the Ninja 5 was supposed to go back today. I've got it all packaged up. I'm waiting for the shipping label, but I got to tell you, you really notice when you appreciate a technology when you don't have it. And here I am recording my video. Oh, I need to check my time here. How much time do I have? I've got 21 minutes, so I've got to worry about the record limits now. So there's that. I've also got to worry about overheat limits, but not really. It's 2 degrees Celsius outside. My basement is probably not much warmer than 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably about 16. But having that external monitor right there while it's recording, letting you see where your head is. How close to the top am I? How is everything looking? And then being able to edit right off the SSD. So once I'm finished recording this, I'm going to take it over to the computer, and then I have to transfer it off. And so I'll let it do that while I do other things around the house. And then I have to make the call. Is this something that I want to convert to Apple ProRes, or just deal with it and deal with the choppiness in post? So yeah, I already missed the Ninja 5, and it's not for the great time saver that is. It's all the other stuff, and I wonder how long I can go before I go ahead and purchase the Ninja 5 again. I miss it. I almost took it out of the box to shoot, and I thought, no, it's going back. It's just a matter of days. You've got to separate yourself. It's not me, Ninja. Well, it is me. I don't have the budget for it right now, but it's definitely not you. You'll be coming back into my life sometime soon. So yeah, the Ninja 5, I really enjoyed that product. It's rare that I get to review a product that I'm head over heels for, and that is definitely one, just on the time savings and the much superior customer experience that it provides to your workflow. And I'm curious about the Crane too. Will it be that next product that I'm head over heels over? I definitely saw some benefits to it. I'm definitely intrigued to test it out, and I hope to get the Village Mare up one more time to do some tests with this. As our COVID numbers are really jumping up, that might be tricky to do. We're going to have to probably use gloves, masks, and all that sort of stuff, but that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. Don't forget to subscribe, for your chance to win the, not the Canon, for the Synco Lav S6E and M3 shotgun microphones. I'll be awarding those 2 microphones to one lucky viewer once the channel reaches 20,000 subscribers. And then for every 10,000 subscribers from there on out, I'll be offering up a more expensive and better prize every 10,000. I already said that, didn't I? Every 10,000 subscribers until the channel reaches 100,000 subscribers, at which point I'll be giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. And on that bombshell, thanks for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.